No, it's back. Give it to the quarterback. No, we got the running back.
Straight off the couch.
Here are the stories we're going to be chasing today.
Well, before I get into the stories I'm going to be chasing today, let me bring in my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Whitehall. How are you, brother?
Oh, man. This is our last show of the season, so it's kind of bittersweet. But, I mean, we're going out with a bang, right?
Let's just jump right into the most important thing. I know this is on the minds of all of our listeners. What did you make for your guests? What food was served at the Adam Whitehall residence?
So I did 12 pounds of pulled pork.
Nice.
There's still lots left. I can't believe there was a lot of food though. I did about 2 gallons of chili. I did a liter of queso, hot queso dip.
For what? Like 6 people? All this food for like
15. I had 15 people here.
15 people. That's good. That's respectable. Yeah. And you don't know what they're going to go for, so you got to have. I mean, you don't want people having like all the chili left and all the pulled pork gone. You don't want that. So you have to have a little something extra.
So I did a little solid for everybody too. I went to the local store and I bought all these little takeout containers. So I sent them home with like doggy bags so that they had pulled pork and chili for their lunch the next day, because I mean the game goes late and there's some of them had like a 2-3 hour drive as well. So
I got to move closer to Canada, I think.
Dude, I do it up. Super Bowl is like my Christmas.
Well, I guess there was a game yesterday, right?
Oh, it was a big one.
And well, I'm sure by now all of our listeners know that the Eagles were victorious over the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's just jump right in with what the hell happened to Kansas City.
I think the Eagles took a page out of Tampa Bay's book from when Tampa Bay went up against Kansas City, and they made Patrick run. Well,
not just that. Philadelphia did something that not every team can do. They applied pressure with their defensive front four. There was very few times that I see 5 or 6 rushing. They did it all with their front 4 down linemen.
Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Because with Patrick Mahomes, if you send 5 or 6, that means somebody's not covered really well, and he'll pick you apart.
Yeah, he can sling that ball real quick when that happens. But 4, he didn't know what to deal with.
Yeah, everybody was covered downfield, and he had pressure coming in his face, and he wasn't comfortable in the pocket at all night long, and that's not something he's used to. He has a pretty good offensive line most of the time, and he wasn't used to what happened to him last night.
He did not get past the 50-yard line until like the fourth quarter.
2.5 minutes left in the third quarter was when he got into the.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The game was a really slow pace for the blowout that it was, though. The game was very slow.
Well, Philadelphia scored first, and then they scored that field goal, and you're thinking, wow, this is not out of hand.
10-0.
This is not out of hand. Kansas City's played from behind quite a bit this season. They can catch this up. And then there was the back-to-back sacks on Patrick Mahomes, and then on the third down of that series, he threw the pick six. And
the pick six to Cooper DeJean that looks like he's maybe like 12 years old.
Yeah, but do not think for
and it's a kid's birthday.
Yeah, do not think for 1 second that the fact that he was sacked on those 2 previous plays didn't have some impact on that interception. He was under duress, and he wanted to get rid of the ball quick, and it showed.
So a couple highlights that I watched during that game. I actually screamed at the TV when Jalen was throwing that interception. I was just like, that's going to be a bad throw. And then it right into a Chiefs receiver's hands. And I was just like, oh, we got a game. I was just like, but I saw the way he arced that ball, and I'm like, that's going to be a bad throw. And sure enough,
it looked like Russell Wilson throw. It was one of those moon balls.
Yeah. It was like worse than a moon ball. His arm was so far back. It was just like, oh. Yeah, I was like, that's a bad throw. And then sure enough, it was a very bad throw. It just looked awful.
And in the first half, Travis Kelce had 0 receptions. They bottled him up really well, which, I mean, there's 5 down offensive linemen, and you're rushing 4, and you're getting there with 4. That means you got an extra guy to cover.
The karma in this game was really interesting. I mean, Taylor Swift was there, so calling it karma is kind of interesting. The dropsies were back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, D-Hop drops one. I was just like, should have been an easy catch for D-Hop. They had the jitters for sure, man. Like the Philly was in their face.
It wasn't just the dropsies though. They had their full core of starting receivers. They weren't missing anybody. Everybody was available to play yesterday.
And their defense took a shit ton of penalties.
A lot of penalties, yeah. And that's not something you usually see from the Kansas City Chiefs defense. No, they're usually pretty well.
I think they made a point of this one with the reffing, and they were just like, they've heard what everybody says. Like the guy is offside pretty much every play. He always gets a jump and never gets called. And sure enough, he got called a couple times.
Oh, their offensive tackle, yeah. He starts deep and his leg is moving before the ball is snapped every down. And then they got a couple of the offensive offsides as well, where the ineligible remains downfield, and it's a tackle is taken 2 steps beyond the line of scrimmage. They got
it was very karmatic for them to get that so many penalties.
Now, is it just me? Because I try and watch it objectively, but as things started going farther and farther south, I never really thought they were out of it until the fourth quarter.
I did. I watched the fourth quarter of where they were just like the Philly team just did not give a shit at that point. They're like, give them some points. It'll just waste some time. Oh yeah, like, we just don't care.
Yeah, the points they got were all garbage time, with the exception of of the first 6. The first 6 wasn't garbage time, but
they had them at what 34-0 for the longest time. For 3 quarters. 30-0
for 3 quarters.
It was 30-0 or something like that, and then it was like 34-0 or something, and then they got the 6 points, and they tried for the 2-point conversion and couldn't get it.
Yeah, but that first 6 that Kansas City got were the only points that they put on the board that weren't garbage points, in my opinion. That at that point in time,
it was too late by then.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was too late, because this is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about, and he has gone on runs like that where he's turned things over and gotten points really quickly consecutively. But part of the thing
I think at that point they only had 1 timeout left because they were trying to preserve clock in the third quarter.
Yeah, not only that, Adam. If you recall, that was the third quarter. So when they did get the touchdown, they couldn't kick an onside kick because you can only do that in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I think that might have hurt their chances a little bit. But still, at that point in time, it was what, 27-6 was it score? And you're thinking, I can
34-6 at that point.
Yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, I can see Patrick Mahomes putting up 21 in the third quarter or the fourth quarter. That wouldn't surprise me a bit.
I didn't see it coming. Just the way they played, there was no urgency there. Patrick looked like he was a human being for once and not Superman anymore.
Did you get the vibe at all that maybe Kansas City went into the game just expecting things to go their way, and when they didn't know how to respond?
A little too confident?
Yeah, a little too confident.
It certainly felt that way because, we'll get to prop bets shortly, but the Taylor Swift sightings were very low because the Chiefs weren't doing anything. And then the one time that we did see her on the screen, she was she looked like Travis was going to get a spanking when he got home, and not the good kind.
Well, and they happened to show her when the stadium crowd was booing her too, which was really uncomfortable. She didn't look like reading her lips, she's like, what's going on here? Because she's not used to having people boo her.
Well, one more thing is, Tom Brady's 3-0 versus Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs when he's in the stadium,
That's true. That's true. Maybe Patrick's going to have a rider on his contract. Tom can't be in the building.
Tom is not allowed anywhere near us. He's got a restraining order. 1,000 yards from the building, please.
And his really expensive watch, too. The watch can't be there either.
$800,000 watch or $750 or whatever. Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So Tom can't be here, and neither can his watch. And as the wheels came off the cart, the sideline for Kansas City started. Andy Reid was having a meltdown, and Andy Reid never has a meltdown.
Yeah, I love watching Spags have a meltdown, though. That was hilarious.
And I'm so happy to see Spags go away for a few months because I'm so tired of hearing about the defensive genius he was. I don't know.
You got Vic Fangio did a much better job, in my opinion.
Dick Fangio, I've liked Dick Fangio as a defensive coordinator for a long time. He was the Bears defensive coordinator before he went to be the head coach in Denver. And before us, he was in San Francisco. He got San Francisco into the Super Bowl. That's how good of a defensive coordinator he is. He's fantastic.
He's a good DC for sure.
So
he made that front four just into something awesome.
And they, like I said earlier, Patrick never had a chance to relax all day long. He was hurried. He was rushed. He had happy feet. He wasn't comfortable. Now, have you seen the online conspiracies that he was concussed in the first quarter?
Yeah, I was reading a little bit of something about it, and I was just like, I don't know about that.
I think those are Kansas City fanboys stretching for excuses now. You know,
they were very gentle when they took him down. Like, they must have watched the Kevin Hart promo of getting him the pillow and the blanket and everything, because I mean, most of his stuff that they caught him around the legs, and they were very gentle when they took him down.
They did, and there was the one that got a sack, and he never went to the ground. The officials blew it dead before he got put on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, the officials are doing the right thing. We don't want important players get hurt.
Absolutely. In that case, if he's wrapped up and it's obvious, blow the whistle. I've got no problem with that. So we had the interminable 5.5-hour pregame show. How much of that did you sit through?
I watched the whole damn thing.
Oh, you're a better man than I am, dude.
I put it on at noon because I was prepping food and stuff, so I had it on all day
in the background while you were working in the kitchen and stuff.
Well, yeah, I was up and down the stairs and stuff, and it's on, and then they go into the is it a Jalen Hurts quote or a Inner Excellence book quote? And I was just like, hey, I just read that book. I should be really good at this.
AJ and AJ Brown had a good game.
Yeah, I mean, he read the book.
Read the book. He had what? 3 receptions and 1 touchdown.
Yeah,
three
he
big,
did really good.
Three big receptions and 1 touchdown. The one thing that
he did his job.
The one thing that didn't happen that we expected to happen was Saquon going off for a bunch of yards, but they used him in the passing game instead.
Yeah, so that was one of my fears last week when we spoke was that I thought Kansas City was very good at watching tape, and they were gonna, bottle down on Saquon because they knew how dangerous he was. And Saquon only went for 57 yards rushing.
Yeah, his longest run was 7 or 8 yards. It wasn't
it wasn't big at all.
But like I said,
and there's a couple times where I thought he was going to break free, but he just didn't.
And like I said, so instead Philadelphia adjusted and used him in the passing game instead because he's a good receiving back, and that seemed to work out pretty well for him.
Yeah, what did he get here? I had him just up here in front of me. He had 25 carries for 57 yards total.
yeah, and we were both thinking it was going to be 100, 120.
I had him for 125.5 on my prop bets.
Yeah, so anybody took the under on that, congratulations. So what was his receiving yards? Does that
it just says 57 total. Let me see if they can give me more. Give me more. That's rushing. Hang on. Receiving. Saquon 40 yards receiving.
40 yards receiving. So he had about 100 combined yards.
And no TDs for the birthday boy.
No, and see, being a Bears guy, I remember when the Bears were in the Super Bowl and Walter Payton didn't have any touchdowns in that game.
Yeah,
and the big
they actually talked about that in the pregame.
Yeah, so does Saquon feel bad? I doubt it because he got his ring.
Saquon contributed to get them to the Super Bowl, and it's a team sport, and he's happy to get his ring, and he says, "Fuck you, New York."
Yeah. Did the week before for the championship game, or was the divisional round? But he had all of his New York Giant football teammates in his box.
The divisional round. So our prop bets for this game were 5.5 Swiftie sightings. That was an under. I only saw her twice.
Yep, and one of them was, like I said, when they were booing her.
Very sad. 4.5 special guests at the halftime show.
2.
We got 3.
3. Who's the third?
We got Sam Jackson. We got Uncle Sam Jackson.
Uncle Sam.
Right? We got Serena Williams dancing.
Serena Williams and SZA.
And SZA.
Okay. Because SZA was expected. That was announced, so I wasn't counting her.
It's still a cameo appearance.
So what was, because I know what my feed was like. What was your opinion on the halftime show?
I thought it was an absolute garbage halftime show. He tried to do what The Weeknd did during COVID. They had the camera like right in his face the entire time, and then when they did the big pan outs, all you saw was a camera crew in front of him, and I was just like, okay, that's not a great visual from overhead.
See, I respectfully disagree. I liked it.
Yeah, whatever.
I liked it.
We could disagree on that.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. No,
I didn't like the show. I didn't understand a damn word he said either.
Well, what I appreciated about it, because I didn't know any of the songs, and you and I we're DJs. We should recognize songs. I mean,
yeah.
I did recognize when they sampled Debbie Deb when I hear music, but that's not really enough to call it the song.
Yeah.
But what I appreciated about it was I didn't pick up a pandering vibe from him. He was just, this is my thing. I'm doing my thing, and he did his own thing, and I kind of respected the artist in him. Just putting it all out there, and if you like it, great. If you don't, great. I appreciated that.
A lot of bounce walking. That's what it was. A lot of bounce walking.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I kind of appreciated it. I liked it a little. I wasn't as, I've seen worse halftime shows by far. So calling it the worst ever.
The halftime show is a coin flip.
Yeah. Well, let's face it.
You never know.
The league has missed the boat on what would be the absolute best halftime show ever when they had to book Weird Al Yankovic, and now Weird Al is probably just a little too old for it.
Weird Al doesn't care. He doesn't want to do no Super Bowls. He ain't Tom Cruise doing the big intro or anything.
Oh God, did that suck?
Man, does he look like he's been fucking through the ringer, eh?
Well, he's my age, man. He's my age. Tom Cruise
I know,
is
but
my
like,
age.
the amount of plastic in his face is interesting.
Yeah, and I know I don't look like I'm 40 anymore. Tom,
yeah,
it's got to happen to sometime. Tom, shit's going to catch up with you, and I think it's starting.
Well, his nose has grown like 10 times the size of what it used to be when he was in risky business. You know, like it was just like his nose is huge now compared to what it was.
It's not that his nose.
But I think he broke it a bunch of times.
I don't think that his nose is broken. They keep shaving other pieces off his face. The nose is the same size. His face just keeps getting smaller.
His face gets smaller.
all the surgeries, you know.
So the next prop bet we had was 1.5 questionable reffing calls.
I saw 2.
Yeah, I saw 2. So you messaged me during the first questionable call. Is that like we're making it even?
No, that I think the one before that was the first questionable call.
Was the first one?
Then the second one was me texting you going, was this let's even this out a little call?
Yeah. So those were they were early. First quarter.
First 5 or 10 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes of the first quarter. Yeah.
I actually said here live during the first quarter, just after the coin flip, I said we won't see a flag till the second quarter, and then it was like 3 minutes in, we saw a flag.
Yeah,
it's just like, fuck.
But for the most part, they let them play.
The next prop bet I had was 3.5 brotherly shoves.
I think I remember one.
I only saw one.
Wow. So we hit the unders on everything.
Yeah. And then I got 2.5 Mahomes calls for a flag.
Well, he was doing that all night, but I don't remember seeing it on for the most part. I don't remember seeing it. He was like just beat up too much.
He was on his back most of the night. He couldn't throw his arms up to be like flag, flag, flag. And then also I had 125.5 Saquon rushing yards, which is the under 2. So we hit the under on everything. And then the bonus one that you added was 1.5 on Chris Jones crying.
And I think I saw 3.
You saw 3?
Yeah. Well,
I was watching him all night, and I only saw the anthem crying. I didn't see any other crying.
The anthem. Then they showed him on the sideline when in the fourth quarter when Philadelphia got the sack strip.
Oh, didn't see that.
Yeah, he genuflected on the ground and was he was crying with the genuflect. That was the oh my God. And when they did the brotherly shove, he was crying a little bit when they were working on his neck as well. They showed him on the sideline massaging his neck.
Yeah, so I didn't count that one because I mean it's like his lack of neck was getting worked on.
Right.
So
right.
And that device, I kind of want to get one just to see how powerful it is because I get like the muscle massager thing. Yeah. I want to see how powerful they are, but at the same time, I think I could seriously hurt myself with it because it looks like it's pretty powerful. It can't feel good. It probably does feel great afterwards, but it can't feel good at the time.
No, and you're supposed to use it like 6 or 7 inches away from your leg. Adam's got it right on his thigh.
I'd be like right in there.
Trying to work out that cramp.
I'd be pushing it in, like just let's go in like 2 inches deep into the skin.
Looks like he's getting a shot of adrenaline. That's how close he is to his skin.
I kind of want to get one. They're all over Amazon, so I was just like, there's one that's got like 8 different heads on it that you can like change it and stuff, and like you do your eyeballs and shit if you want. I guess
I don't need all that junk.
Earlobe attachment and shit.
So people are calling this one of the worst Super Bowls in recent history, and I can't really argue that too much. Just simply based on the way Kansas City didn't show up.
I thought it was great.
I didn't mind watching them lose that badly, but I mean, it wasn't really an exciting game.
It wasn't an exciting game, but I was so busy cheering every time they got some points that I was just like, I forgot that there was another team in the game.
Oh, and they just, like I said earlier, they looked like starting the game, like they just expected things to go their way, and when they didn't know how to respond. They didn't know how to react.
I was a little worried on the coin flip when Philly said, we want the ball first. I was like, I think that's a bad move.
No, go ahead and take the ball because it worked out for you.
It did work out for them, but I was just like, I think that's a bad move. I don't know if you want first possession in a Super Bowl. Like, there's always everybody's got to have a possession and you got to kind of feel out the other team. But I guess they were confident and they did the job.
Is it just me or does Jalen Hurts come across as, I can't decide if it's stoic or just, I don't know what to say, so I'm not saying nothing. Because he's a quiet dude. He's not really demonstrative like a lot of quarterbacks are in the league.
No, he's not. He's not full of ego, and I kind of like that about that entire team. To be honest, there's like everybody seems to be very team oriented, and they take care of each other. So,
do you think this was Travis Kelce's last game? I think if they'd have won 100%, he walks away.
It's hard to say. He's up there in age for a tight end. It's a hard position to play.
It is, and he's been in the league 12 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And he's not one of the receiving tight ends either. He's not Tony Gonzalez. He's on the line blocking too.
Sometimes he is now. He never used to be. He used to be just the catcher guy, and that was it. But now I've seen him do some blocking and stuff. So I was just like, because I used to compare him, like everybody said, oh, Travis Kelce's the best. And I'm like, he's not a true tight end. Like Gronk was a true tight end. Gronk did everything.
Yeah.
But now I think Kelce's starting to take that. And he's like, okay, I know I can't fucking catch anymore. And I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'll just protect Patrick.
He just finds the crease, though. Somehow, when he finds the crease when they need him to find the crease, and if he does retire, I wonder how that's going to affect Patrick because that is his safety valve, and he really can't.
I think honestly, the Chiefs thing is over. I don't think they make it back to another Super Bowl.
That's somebody might want to write that down because
It's recorded, man. That's a bold prediction, I know, but I do not think they go back to another Super Bowl. Not for a while, anyway. Not with this crew.
Well, there's always a hangover for the loser. I wouldn't be surprised if next year they get to the playoffs, but they don't make it to the big game. That wouldn't surprise me a whole lot. But I can see
I
them.
think we have another AFC contender next year. I think there's the AFC's coming along a long way. I think the Bengals are actually going to be strong next year, and they're not going to make the same mistake that they did this year. I think the Bills have a great chance if they can figure shit out and figure out how to beat KC in the playoffs, but they might not even face them. And I also think that the LA Chargers are up and coming.
What about Houston?
Houston, well, we'll see. Houston always seems to be very promising, and then they always seem to take bad injuries at the wrong time, and the wheels fall off.
Right now, the way things are standing, I wouldn't be surprised to see Denver go a little deeper in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, that division is actually going to get a lot tougher now.
Yeah. And Denver, Bo Nix looked really good, and that defense of Denver is a thing. So,
I mean, the Chargers really good. Under Harbaugh. Kansas City has always been the head of that division for the last decade.
Yeah, they're the class of the division, right?
They're the class of the division, and the Raiders are going to be turning things around in the next couple of years, if not this year.
I don't picture it this year. I'm thinking 2 years.
I don't see it either, but I also didn't say that. I said that about the Chargers and the Broncos too, and they seem to turn it around pretty quick.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. So,
right. So I said a couple years, and they'll be playoff contenders, and they both made it they both made it to the playoffs.
So post game observations, and I've noticed this before, and I didn't say anything because I thought maybe it was just a bad day. I want to give somebody more than a couple of chances. It looks to me like Patrick Mahomes might be a bit of a sore loser.
Very much so.
Yeah, I'm not crazy.
Absolutely.
Because remember when they lost to the Bills last year in the regular season, and rather than congratulating Josh Allen on winning the game, he goes, "That was a bullshit call." Remember that?
Yeah. I do remember that.
So yesterday at the end of the game, he went over and talked to Jalen Hurts, and they didn't have a camera on him for a change. They had it on Jalen, but the whole vibe in that fourth quarter, him on the sideline and the post game walking through shaking hands, it was very truncated, and he didn't want to be there, and he wanted just to get off the field and get out of the way from the cameras. And I'm sorry, Patrick, just a little advice from your old Uncle Terry here. If you're going to be happy and in your face when you win, you have to be available when you lose. You can't hide when you lose if you're going to be that energetic when you win. You look like a sore winner.
Yeah, you got to check that ego, man. A little humility goes a long way, and he had the pouty kid thing going on.
He absolutely did, and I didn't like it, to be honest with you. I didn't like it at all. I wonder
It's not a good look. I mean, Travis Kelce looked exactly the same, too. Like, he looked like he was going to, Hulk smash something.
I think Travis had a whole thing in his head planned. I don't know if he was going to propose to Taylor or not. That was the rumor. But
she wanted to be on the field this year, and he was going to get her there.
Yeah,
dreams were blown up.
That's kind of what I think was going to happen, with something special with him and Tay, and they were going to go off and enjoy the off season and as a Super Bowl champion. And when that didn't happen, Travis got a little angrier every few minutes as things started going farther and farther and farther south. And he actually got chippy a couple of times. The officials had to step in a couple of times, and you don't usually see him get chippy like that.
Yeah, he usually does. Actually, he's trying to draw penalties, but they wouldn't let him be the instigator this time.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they got right in. They were just like, Travis, you're not playing this fucking game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, kudos to the officials. I think the officials did a really good job this year, yesterday. I think it was a really well officiated game.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a Chiefs fan, Chiefs fans will be like, "See, we don't get all the calls."
Well, actually, a non-Chiefs fan would go, "Yeah, and look what happens when you don't."
I just call it karma. Everything was very karmatic. It was, Taylor was there. She has a song named Karma. Everybody complained about the Chiefs getting all the calls. We theorized on it, but we can't prove anything. And we talked about calls that weren't made, like the defensive offsides and the false starts by the left tackle and all those things. And then this game, it's like, oh, they called them all this time, like every single one of them. And then Patrick also gets sacked 6 times without a 15-yard penalty, which is like, whoa.
I wonder if that might have been slightly a mechanism of, because Goodell had people asking him about it during press conferences. The officiating crews, the head of officiating, all that was available during media week, the build up to the Super Bowl, and all of them were asked very pointed questions about it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, it was a big topic for the season. Everybody was talking about it, and social media, in the state that it's in, it blows everything up even more. But and so bandwagon jumpers that don't even watch the games are jumping on, going, yeah, fuck Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's rigged. This is proof it's rigged. And I don't know if you I don't know if you noticed or not. I did not see one sports betting commercial yesterday.
Yeah, so we got screwed. Lucky us, because we have something called the CRTC, which regulates Canadian television. So we get the American feed, but we get the Canadian commercials.
Oh, so you didn't see the there wasn't that. I didn't see any great commercials anyway. But
I can always watch them on YouTube the next day if I want to. But I was just really disappointed because I was starting to see all these stupid Canadian commercials that I've seen before, and I didn't get any fresh new commercials.
Well, they were new. I wouldn't call them fresh. But
we got the well.
I did not see.
You got the hot and readies.
I did not see one BetMGM. I did not see any gambling commercials.
Yeah, I didn't get any sportsbook ones either, which I was kind of shocked. And it's a good thing I didn't put that on the prop bet sheet.
Well, again, I wonder if it's a mechanism of, because that was another thing they asked. They were both, the league was asked. Goodell was asked, but during the press conference, does this have anything to do with the amount of sports betting influencing games? I mean, these were really pointed, direct questions face to face to Goodell. He tap danced, but that's what he does. That's his. That's who he is. He's not going to give you a straight answer, but I can see him walking away from the press conferences going, make sure this shit doesn't happen again, because I don't want to have these fucking questions. I can see that conversation taking place.
I love the imposter reporters that come in and I don't know how they get in with a press pass and they start asking all the pointed questions. Hey, Patrick. Yeah, you. Who's your favorite ref?
The other one I saw that they asked Patrick was, do you get that in an email or is it a text from the officiating crew?
What did you put on the Christmas cards for the refs this year?
Oh yeah, that was really funny. So
yeah, they're like, I don't know how they get in, but man, I like, my hat's off to those guys just trolling.
Technically, because we are a podcast and we are media, we could probably get press passes if we wanted to go to a game for the Super Bowl.
That'd be kind of cool.
But we'd have to go to media week. We'd have to pay our own way to wherever the Super Bowl is. We'd have to pay our own way for the
that
could
get really
room.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's in San Francisco next year.
But actually, I have a friend that lives in Fresno. It's not terribly far away, maybe 90 minutes by car.
All right. Straight off the couch is going to go ask the hard questions on media week. Speaking of like the guys asking all the hard questions, the opposite of it, can someone get Jameis Winston his own goddamn show?
Oh my God, his Super Bowl week stuff was great.
Right? Like, they give the guy a show. He's awesome.
It was fantastic. It was better than that fucking late night ESPN talk show with not Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce. Yeah, it was better than that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean,
and
awesome.
And unlike Beast Mode, you can understand what he's saying. You can understand what Jameis is saying.
Yeah, Marshawn, I still don't know what Marshawn's saying. They must have a translator in the monitor for these guys.
He should come
what
with.
Did Marshawn say?
He should come with subtitles.
In your city.
And speaking of subtitles, one of my favorite things about all the big games are just how excited the sign language artists are when the artists are performing the national anthem.
Oh my God, I was saying that. I was just like, she's just going.
They're just so into it, man. All right.
Oh, I was just like, oh my God, she's singing.
Do you have anything else to add? Because I think we've pretty much covered everything, buddy.
I'd just like to thank everybody that stayed with us for 24 episodes of season 2, and I can hardly wait. Well, we get a much deserved break, but I can hardly wait for another 6 months to go by so that we can start up season 3.
And Adam, we haven't really talked about it. It's not like we haven't planned it really, really well. But I'm sure we'll pop back in like during draft time, or if there's a big news or something, we'll pop in and give you a quick one shot.
Yeah, we might do a like a season 2.5 where we just throw in a a weird episode here and there.
Yeah, or maybe like once a month to just check in and see how Adam's food is coming along. His food prep is working out for everybody.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much left still.
So it sounds like leftover at the Whitehall residence all week long, huh?
Oh man, we already had pulled pork sandwiches for lunch.
Adam, where can the boys and girls find us at?
You can find us on Facebook.com/straightoffthecouch and on Linktree, also Straight Off the Couch. If you want to hit me up directly, or you just want to see some of the food stuff, which I should post, you can find me on the gram and the tweet deck, or the X, or whatever they're calling it this week. That's at Adam Off the Couch. How about you, Terry?
You can find me on X at TREMUP. That's at TREMUP, and on the gram at Tear'emUpTerry. One thing we didn't talk about, I just realized, I selected the Chiefs to win, and they didn't, and you selected Philadelphia to win, and they did. So God bless you.
Oh yes, I actually picked the right one this time.
Attaboy. So for my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Whitehall, I am of course me. Thanks for joining us all year. Be safe. God bless. We'll pop in once in a while and check on you. Make sure you check in on us, because I need help. Everybody be safe.
Thanks for listening.
God bless.